Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Silicon Slopes for today's conversation about artificial intelligence, AI education, and the future of tech careers. Today we are joined by Omkar Terse, and who is the chair of Applied Artificial Intelligence at Neumont University. And, you know, we'll talk about how AI is incorporated into both the bachelor's and master's degrees offerings. So Omkar, thanks for being here with us today. And tell us about you, your background, and how this is all started for you, and how do you see AI in the next future?
Arnaud, thanks for having me here. That's a very big question, so I'll just break it down. I am originally from India, grew up in Mumbai, came to the States in 2018, did my master's here, specializing in data science, artificial intelligence, did some research work at the university, and then I got into the industry working as a data scientist for multiple years. So that's sort of the background that I come with. As I was mentioning before, being in the industry as an engineer, I've just felt a sense of responsibility to create software solutions that are actually contributing to the social good. Really passionate about mentorship since the beginning, and I looked at education as a natural stepping stone in my career to be able to bring the expertise and knowledge that I've gained from my work in the industry to start preparing the next generation of engineers. So yeah, from my career standpoint, I just find myself moving from shaping technologies to shaping the minds that will be shaping technologies. So that's sort of what has brought me into this space. You mentioned artificial intelligence, which is like such a big, and often like we like to use the word black box, like this magic box of we can just wish for whatever we want and we get it. And I feel like a big part of my just professional experience working in the industry and also coming at Neumont has been to demystify what artificial intelligence is. I have a personal passion and interest for just understanding the human mind, how we think, how we learn, how we collaborate and problem solve. And from my experience, I've noticed that with artificial intelligence, we are just externalizing whatever we understand about ourselves. But it's been really interesting to see the limitations of artificial intelligence, given the magic box it is. And I feel like it's a good reflection of what we are yet to understand about ourselves and our own psychology. So, yeah.
And so what would you be doing if not working in AI?
Oh, this might seem, that's a good question, seem contradictory, but I would probably be working in some form of psychology, social work space, because again, as I said, like this form of support, and it's not just about creating software solutions, but it's actually creating solutions responsibly and for social good. I've found deep meaning in this work around education to just like prepare the students for the industry and to give them the tools with which they can flourish and do good into this world. So for me, again, like the edge of artificial intelligence is to like create an artificial mind that works like us, that functions like us, but without our quote-unquote drawbacks. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how like algorithmic bias and just like how the limitations that artificial intelligence has and what we can do as humans to be a part of that wave of evolution.
And what is the biggest thing right now in AI that the students are working on that would benefit our leaders?
I will actually bring that in the context of how Neumont approaches education. Ever since the beginning, Neumont has sort of moved away from traditional lecture-heavy education and actually focused on preparing students through practical project-based learning experience. So just throughout a Neumont student's experience at the school, they are consistently working on a lot of practical projects and projects in team building environments. So in the context of AI, I mean, you just name it, like whatever the industry is asking for at this point. So I think based on all the industry partners that we meet with, that we correspond with and get feedback from about our programs, we are seeing that employers are less interested in individuals who have a theoretical understanding of AI and more interested in individuals who actually have the skills and the practical knowledge to be able to build those solutions themselves. And this can go anywhere from machine learning systems, business intelligence dashboards, cloud infrastructure deployments, agentic solutions. So just throughout students' experience in Neumont, we are training them and then giving them plenty of opportunities to get exposed to working on actual projects that honestly my students are really proud of, like they're proud of. And I think that's such a meaningful thing for a graduate to go into the industry and to actually be happy and proud about the work that they've done. And I feel like that practical knowledge and hands-on understanding is such a big component to that.
And can you give us a brief history of Neumont for the people who don't know about Neumont University, so the current state and future state of Neumont University? When was it founded and why?
Sure. Neumont was founded in 2003. And ever since the beginning, we've had a unique goal. We have been really curious and motivated to create a different kind of technology university, which is preparing students for real careers in tech. So ever since the beginning, Neumont has been in loop with industry, and this happens through our industry partners, enterprise projects, and we could talk about that. But just real employers in the industry with whom we meet with quite frequently in order to stay in touch with how the industry is evolving. So as a consequence of that, at the beginning, Neumont was a university. We offered educational programs in computer science and software engineering because that was the demand of the industry back in 2000s, like early 2000s. And as we have observed the industry evolve and diversify, there are new fields emerging: cybersecurity, data science, AI, and so the employers, their needs are also evolving with that. And Neumont has been like keeping a close eye on that and making sure that we are incorporating those philosophies, those ways of thinking, and essentially the training required for the students. So again, through project-based learning, but now gaining specialization in those fields that the industry is looking for. So yeah, that has been Neumont's goal ever since the beginning.
So why AI at Neumont? You know, basically, as we just unpacked earlier, AI is everywhere right now. Every company is kind of dependent on AI, as we know. So what led Neumont University to expand into AI-focused degree programs?
I'll just like revert the same question of like, why not AI, right? Like, it's just such an immersive aspect of every individual in this room and in this world right now. I think one of the key changes that has happened is not just the development of AI, but also the democratization of AI, of how commercialized these products are, where the number of individuals who are directly interfacing with AI solutions has gone up exponentially. And so it's become a big focus of the industry. So there are two things we are noticing as an educational institute. The first thing that I stated is just the proliferation of AI technologies and the immersion of everyday human with these technological solutions. But the other is just the response that we've got from our industry partners and just closely tracking what are the industry needs. I do feel like in order for our students to stay relevant as they graduate from Neumont, it is essential for them to have some exposure to AI. One thing that I love telling my students is if you know how the technology works, you get a choice of how to interact with it. If you don't know how it works, you don't get a choice. So at this point, I think one of my main focus is to make sure that my students feel capable, feel confident, and feel like they have agency to continue to evolve with the industry. So naturally, this is going to make them more employable, but above that, it's going to keep their minds sharp and hopefully give them an opportunity to show up as leaders in this space, because 10 years down the line, these would be the students who would be making decisions about how AI technologies work in the future. So, yeah.
Of course, being relevant, right? So, and tell us about your AI degree offerings. So you've got a Bachelor of Science in Applied AI, you've got a Bachelor of Science in AI Engineering, and you've got a Master of Science in Applied Artificial Intelligence. Can you unpack that with us?
For sure. Over time, I've really simplified how I talk about these programs so that I could explain it to my students. When we talk about applied artificial intelligence, these programs are focused on essentially preparing students to be able to work with already existing AI systems and focusing more on implementation, application towards business-oriented solutions, research-oriented solutions, essentially giving them the tools to be able to make effective data-driven decisions and automating those decisions. With AI engineering, the focus more so is on developing infrastructure for deployment, software engineering with AI specialization. So that's like the two main ways to differentiate between applied artificial intelligence and AI engineering. Now we have the Masters of Science in Applied Artificial Intelligence. So that's particularly curated towards students and working professionals who want to up-level their skill sets, who want to gain more expertise, but also prepare to be in more advanced AI roles, automation roles in the industry. So that's how I would differentiate those programs.
Yeah, so what I personally love is really the fact that Neumont is about project-based learning. That's, I think, the key at Neumont University. And so how does that apply specifically to AI education?
That question excites me the most. Because technically, in order for my students, in order for my students to be able to work on AI-oriented projects, I would need to build those projects for them. So it's been a very interesting and challenging and intellectually stimulating process for me as an educator to curate a program that shows something relevant to my students. At this point, again, like AI is a very diversified field, and there are lots of applications. Depending on which kind of degree a student goes in, they might be working on solutions around machine learning applications, agentic development, prompt engineering, and context engineering, which is essentially how to work with AI systems more effectively. We have projects around cloud infrastructure and deployment, so teaching students not just how to develop a standalone solution, but to build out an end-to-end product and then deploy it in a way that can be easily scaled on the basis of demand. So I often tell to my students that think about how this program or how this project could work not just for 10 customers, but for 10,000 customers. Can you think about exceptions? Can you think about edge case scenarios and take that into account and create a pipeline that is robust enough to not just like break and stop working, but can essentially handle those exceptions, notify the right individuals, but keep on going to be able to provide a fluent customer experience. So yeah, just a lot of focus on again, like skills that would be very relevant to how the industry is functioning right now. It's been very natural for Neumont, being industry-oriented, to evolve in this direction, given we've already had a project-based learning approach.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you're thinking of scaling from the beginning as well. I think that's very relevant. And tell us more about your the careers outcomes, right? So what kind of careers are these programs preparing students for?
Worth acknowledging, the careers that we're preparing students for right now didn't exist a year and a half ago. The AI space is evolving so drastically. It's again like a moving target for us. At this point, all the skills that students are gaining is towards roles like AI engineers, software engineers with AI specializations, data scientists, machine learning engineers, roles in automation. So that's sort of the main focus of individuals who will be in the industry, directly working on teams who are working with AI, directly working with AI, making decisions based on data that has been processed through data pipelines managed by AI, because that's all automated as well. So those are the kind of roles that we are targeting at this point. And again, this would look a little different based on which degree they're coming from, because again, a couple are focused more towards AI applications versus developing AI systems and software engineering.
So what does the future of AI actually looks like at Neumont?
I'll answer that two ways. In some ways, I think it's important to be able to handle the ambiguity of not knowing which direction that AI is going to go in. In the last year and a half, I've already redesigned my curriculum twice. So that just like speaks to how quickly we like to reorient to the industry needs. Based on my experience right now and based on all the correspondence that we've had with our industry experts, we are just seeing that we'll be diving much, much deeper into AI. So from the educational standpoint, this can show up as a lot more AI specializations, a lot more interdisciplinary programs within, from the education standpoint, is not just like whole and soul learning about AI, but learning about how to apply AI in specific industries. A lot more graduate opportunities for the students. And we are always excited to just continue to partner with more industry experts so that we can like stay relevant to what our students need to learn, but actually give them those opportunities and exposures to be able to work on like enterprise projects where students get to partner with and work with industry experts and learn from them directly, gain practical knowledge directly before they graduate, which I think is a big distinguisher for students who study at Neumont.
Can you talk a little bit about the scholarships tied to these programs? How does that work?
For sure. At this point, Neumont offers two main scholarships with our partnerships with Silicon Slopes and with TechBuzz Media. The first scholarship is oriented towards Utah residents specifically, essentially qualifying them for about a 29% scholarship on their tuition fees. And we also have a scholarship for the students who might want to pursue the master's program. And that's for all our community partners and alumni. And that's about, I believe, $5,000 on tuition again. So yeah, those are the two main scholarships that we are offering right now. We are very interested in just like communicating to our community and to anyone who's interested in AI, in tech in general, that these educational programs are within reach, and we're doing what we can to make that a real possibility for them.
Omkar, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone at Silicon Slopes for spending the time with us this afternoon. If you do want to know more about Neumont University, just stay with us and we can answer all your questions. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Arnaud. Great to be here.
Hey, Omkar. My name is Ben. I was actually chatting with Rob about this before we got started, but it seems to me that there's a lot of very low-hanging fruit just in terms of, the models have advanced and there's so much new capability and people just don't know about it yet. And it wouldn't necessarily make sense for a lot of these working professionals who can use AI to go get another bachelor's degree, right? But like have a certificate program or some sort of partnership with like a company where it's like, hey, Neumont's going to come in and teach us over the course of 8 weeks to like upskill this stuff. And so I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on either approaching things that way or a different way to engage the existing workforce and just help them get up to speed with a lot of that really low-hanging fruit.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for that question. That's really fascinating opportunity. I do have some limited scope of impact, but I know that we are very passionate about like partnering with industry experts and making ourselves available to them in terms of like just education. We do have some certificate programs at this point focused on cybersecurity. We haven't diversified in AI, but I'll take that as a signal to be able to really target programs or like curate programs that can be available for these individuals who are not exactly starting anew or at the same point of time not in a place where they would want to go into the master's. But at this point, that's what we are seeing is a lot of the students who are coming into the master's program, which at this point is an online program. So most of our students are working professionals who are coming in, actually working on AI solutions themselves or having some exposure to it. We've had students over the course of about 6 to 9 months get promotions and get more involved in AI-oriented projects as they are pursuing the master's program. So those are some of the ways in which I, as an instructor, have seen the impact that Neumont has had on individuals who are already working in the industry. At the same point of time, we are also seeing that with the master's program, the students that are coming in aren't coming in at level 0. They're working in the industry, and there is just a growing need and demand for companies to have their employers actively be working on AI systems. So that's already a feedback for us to like reorient and find new ways to design the curriculum which can make it available not just for someone who's starting from scratch, but for someone who's already in the game. I do love the idea of certifications. I'm personally very passionate about I don't know, like boot camps or some form of exposure that way. I know at this point and I know this because I was part of this initiative, or at least was a speaker at this initiative. We do a lot of like tech talks at Neumont. So rather than orienting to the industry, orienting to the students, but actually calling in industry experts to be able to share their experience. But we've also conducted some conferences at Neumont, it was like 20% students and 80% industry experts. So it was like part networking event and part just a lot of workshops oriented towards AI. So hopefully we could get you in touch with someone who can keep you in the loop for some of these events and conferences we are doing at Neumont. And I would love to talk to the individuals who I know at Neumont to see if we can go out ourselves and be of service that way. So thank you. Hopefully I answered your question to some extent.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
I think this is a related question, perhaps. Have you seen interest from the sort of business relationships that you cultivate, where businesses may want to have a vehicle for reskilling?
Let's see. Again, like this kind of goes two ways. Our primary focus has been around preparing students for the industry and making sure that they are career ready. So we are doing whatever we can to be able to essentially prepare students who, once they graduate, they're already at a level of skill that they can be employed right away and be involved in projects that are state-of-the-art technologies of what kind of projects industries might be working with. I know that there has been quite a bit of effort around enterprise projects. So that's where I think your question kind of aligns with what we're trying to do is at this point, we offer up to like 3 quarters where students are actively working with industry experts that we have partnerships with. And students come in with their own educational background, but at the same point of time, we are also seeing what are the industry partners, what are their needs, and making sure that we match the right students to them. And I know that that's like a collaborative effort. I've heard great things about what the industry experts are learning and benefiting from the experience that the students bring in. And at the same point of time, students are stoked. I think it's priceless for students to be able to get practical exposure to working on real world solutions while they're still in school. Because the competition is really sharp, and we are doing whatever we can to prepare students in a way that they are ready for that. And I think part of it is making sure that there are reciprocal partnerships with industry experts. So we want to make sure that not just that our students are gaining the best experience, but that our enterprise project partners are having a great experience and are actually benefiting from the students that are coming in and working with them. So that partially kind of answers that point of making sure that there is some upskilling happening from the business standpoint, and that's where we kind of get limited in how much we can do while making sure that we are still oriented towards the learning experience of the student.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually wanted to see if our host, so Arnaud, is also you're an expert in AI, and I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to ask you maybe the same question. Like, what are some of the projects you're currently working on, specifically around AI? How do you see the industry changing right in front of us every single day? And what are you most excited about what you're currently building with your companies?
What I do like about Neumont University is the applied aspect of it. So the technologies that we developed, the 2 companies that I am part of, Exxovantage and Robotics, are heavily dependent on AI, whether they are sensors or other forms of technologies that are increasingly relevant in terms of sovereign data and autonomy. So as those technologies are important because they are able to predict and prevent, so we can map out what is about to happen before they happen, and increasing productivity while reducing costs. And on one side, from a sort of a financial point of view, and then from a human point of view, reducing strain, pain, injuries, lost time injuries, claims, and so on. So that's what I like with Neumont University, is that the students are able to deliver those outcomes for us as a company with Exxovantage. And then as I am an astronaut trainee, my goal is to get our technologies to the moon. So, these autonomy, when you think about being on the moon or Mars, you want to have full autonomy because you don't have the same you're not able to you're on your own basically. So being first of all fully having an autonomous system around you, which is able to whether it is increasing your productivity while making you safe is critical. But also as we go to Mars, we're going to avoid delays between, if there's 4 minutes in between Mars and the moon and so on. So, with the satellites and everything, the technology, the communication technology around the moon will be faster than Earth. However, we will have those delays between Mars and the moon. So it's very important that we are fully autonomous to feel safe. And then the second aspect is more about the fact that you want to be able to have sovereign data. So every, whether you are in astronautics, aerospace and defense, and as we go further in the future, sovereign data will be critical, like as valuable as cryptocurrency. So meaning you would want your data to be owned, controlled and monetized by the company itself and also by the country itself. So whether you are in the US, because obviously we have other countries that will be competing for the data, and whether the data centers are sitting here in Utah as it is coming up, or on the moon, having full control, ownership, and monetizing the data is critical. So I think those two aspects are, these are the things that we are working on and will be highly relevant as we move forwards towards autonomy of people, able to predict and prevent, but also the sovereignty of the data in the company, the industry, or now the planet itself.
Omkar, I've got a question for you. Have you, it's a two-part question too. Do you run into students who are hesitant to jump in and learn or sign up for the AI degrees? And if so, how do you combat that as a instructor for applied AI?
Yes. I was just talking to Arnaud about this before we started. It's a really interesting challenge. At this point, again, I appreciate Arnaud for your input on this. I think it's really important to kind of demystify and just provide foundational knowledge to our students as they're coming into this program. One way we are doing this at Neumont is to essentially create classes oriented around AI, irrespective of whether they are going into the AI programs that we just spoke about. Because it doesn't matter if you get into cybersecurity or software engineering or game development, there is some amount of AI exposure which will be unavoidable. And if students have the exposure to it, have an understanding of how these technologies work, they have agency in how they interact with it. At this point, my primary approach has been to just bring this clear communication to the students of really understanding how this can help them stay relevant in the industry. So I feel like there is an incentive for anyone who's interested in entering in the industry to have some exposure of AI, irrespective of which kind of field they belong into. And the other part, which I'm really curious about now, is to try to have more open forum conversations about their belief systems. I do feel like often adoption of AI can be looked at as a challenge or erosion of human dignity, of human sovereignty and choice because of the pace at which AI is evolving and just quote unquote taking over a lot of jobs. And I feel like it's very natural for someone who doesn't have the necessary background or understanding to feel fear, to feel paranoia about what that means for the industry, for those individuals, sorry. And I do feel like it's important to acknowledge and validate the concerns while continuing to show them a way towards more hybrid systems, because again, like AI will definitely automate certain jobs, but it's going to create more in the process. And I feel like more and more, especially with applications which are more complex, there is a need for hybrid systems where humans are collaborating with AI systems in order to optimize processes, in order to stay on track, stay in alignment with what goals were initially defined. So yeah, at this point, these have been some of the approaches as an educator which I have leaned into. And yeah, it's very interesting to see the students who have worked with me for over a year and a half now, and they themselves admit that, oh, it was so much different than what they thought it to be. So I do feel like it's important for students to have some direct exposure of these technologies and to really get a sense of how many cool things they could achieve with limited knowledge or limited access to tools, because AI can do the heavy lifting for them. What's important to understand is we still need critical thinking. We still need understanding of systems. We still need skills of problem solving to be able to feel like we have some agency in how we are driving these technologies. So yeah, those are some of the things that come up with that question. Thank you.
I do have one more question. Can you talk to us a little bit about the physical equipment that you're planning to bring into Neumont, and just explain how you're going to incorporate that in the curriculum at Neumont?
For sure. Thanks for pitching that in. Arnaud, you'll be excited to hear about this. So I am planning on bringing in a BSAAI technology, so brain-computer interface, and I'm still trying to zero down on essentially where I would introduce it. I have two options. One is to make it part of one of our applied machine learning project classes, or some of my passionate students have created an applied AI student club within Neumont. So we're just like trying to understand the best way to create most impact. And this would essentially be a hardware headset that an individual could wear, which is scanning the brain signals and brain activity. And there is a direct interface with, say, a computer application or robotics, where they could control, direct, communicate with those systems by thinking. And my goal is to essentially use that as an opportunity to teach students about how to apply machine learning algorithms, like complex deep learning algorithms, to process brain data, which can be very high dimensional, and then translate it into communication signals that can be directly interfaced with an intelligent system. So yeah, it's essentially going a step further beyond the best bandwidth we have right now, which was natural language. Like, we have a lot of large language models and AI models, and we interact with them using natural language. But imagine that you don't even have to say anything and can still interact with these systems. So I feel like it's really on track with some of the things that we've spoken about. And yeah, I'm really excited to, honestly, my students are more excited than me, because we've like spoken about this a bit, and they're super jazzed to get an opportunity to like work with some hardware equipment and to work with something which, like, honestly, as I've pitched this idea, the first response I've got is that possible? And I feel like that's such an edge to explore. And Neumont is a great place to be able to do something like that. Thank you, Rob. Yeah.